I want to welcome everybody to the Curator Artist Tour of Existimos. As many of you are aware, I'm sure, this has been a very long journey getting to this moment because we have all been going through the restrictions of quarantine. And in the process of that, we have lost our space several times, which turns out to be a good thing because it forced me to do something 8 months in advance of when I thought I was going to do it, which was to convert some of the residential space into gallery space. So that is what I've been doing for the last month after we lost the last space. The scale is, the show is a little bit less than the scale of what's on Artsy and a lot less than what it was going to be when we had the space in Polanco. We had about an additional 15 projects that we were presenting from local artists. And unfortunately, with the scale of the space, we're only able to host the artists from the original show with a couple of additions. And I'm super thrilled to share all these additions and everything with you this evening. It's been very, very, very exciting putting this together. And I have been thrilled to actually do interviews with most of the artists who are in the show. So you can go to our Facebook channel, you can see it on our Facebook page as well, but you can go to our YouTube channel and you can see that there's a robust library of interviews of all the different artists that are in the show. And we cover a lot of different topics based on the comfort of the artist and other things too. But I wanted to also show you that we have the premiere of the Felix de Leon interview that I did. Oh, there, oh, that was like a technical glitch. Imagine that. This is actually premiering as we are talking. It premiered 4 minutes ago. So you're able to actually watch that if you would like to. Felix de Leon is a United States artist who does queer illustration work using watercolor, ink pen, and oil paints and water and other things. And he submitted these 3 pieces to our show. He is a Mexico City artist now. He's been here for, I believe, 8 years. And he is a fascinating individual with a really, really interesting story. So I'm excited for you guys to experience the interview and let me know what you think about his work. We did a large amount of conversation on the topic of cultural appropriation. So it's an interesting and engaging interview. So I hope that you'll take the opportunity to watch that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, everybody. I forgot my manners. If everybody could please put your face closer to your camera, I'm going to take your temperatures individually. Oh, some of you are a little bit cold tonight. You might want to see a doctor or a vampire about that. Okay, and here's a little antibacterial gel for you. And if you would like to take one of the postcards, there's the code on the back that you can go to, and on our website you can actually see the book that we're going to be viewing some of the artwork from this evening. So I'm excited about that too. So without further ado, the Existimos show is about queer artists and their stories. I have had many experiences myself with galleries, community organizations, and various different things. And sometimes I think that the story of the artist gets missed in what's happening with the gallery and what the motivations are, or how things are running, or how understaffed they are. And so I wanted to create an experience for artists where they were paid attention to and their story became the central element behind their work. So the visitors to the show will have the opportunity to download an entire library of interviews with each of the artists. So it'll be a great opportunity for the people who are seeing the artwork to actually understand a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes. And it's very much bent towards the editorial angle of for artists, made for artists, but we can all learn from this as well. So I hope that you'll take the opportunity to check that out. Our cover for the book on this show is David Jester, and David is with us this evening. David, do you want to make a little comment about your piece of artwork here and the experience of the show, or life in general? Nothing about politics, though. Let's avoid
life
politics.
in general. No politics. I'm so tired of politics. I'm scared to death. No, I'm really happy to be part of the show. I really am, and I'm glad that Savior made it in, because it's I don't know, it's a fun piece.
Yes, and it's extremely popular. David is also in another one of our shows, Soledad, which is installed into the streets here in Mexico City, and it's very popular. and strangely enough, now it's one of the few pieces that have been partially torn. I think out of respect for all that luscious blue color.
The blueness of being.
The blueness of it it's just captivating people's imaginations. So this other piece is by Amber Irme. Amber, interestingly enough, when she applied to the show, I believe she was in Arkansas. And then when I went to talk to her about doing the show, she was in Switzerland. And then during the quarantine part, she and her partner ended up having to leave Switzerland because they weren't citizens, and now she's in Portugal. But I love her work because she is using materials from the natural environment. She grew up in a rural community in the United States, and she always felt like the representation of rural America was very negative. So she started to make art to tell the stories of her community, and she uses materials in the local environment. And in this particular piece, the larger scale sculptural piece, the hanging fibers, these are made from pine cones in the natural environment. So she soaked the pine cones and then turned them into fibers in order to create the effect for her piece. So I love her work, and her story is super interesting. Aubrey, are you on here, Aubrey? Did I see you on here? There he is. Oh my gosh, you look so opening night. You look amazing. Thank you for getting so dressed up. These 4 pieces, Aubrey, do you want to make a comment about the 4 pieces here?
Hey, yeah, for sure. And I'm actually behind the other 3 from the same series that just came back from a show in Minneapolis this summer. These are all Atlanta-based drag queens that I worked with, was friends with during my time in Atlanta. I'm so happy that they're down in Mexico, and yeah, I wish I could be there too. Yeah, these are, and someone was asking earlier, but those are the back sides of the same cloth, right? So it's interesting to see the reverse, especially with portraits, because you get such interesting stitch work when you're not really thinking about what you're doing, and kind of compared to the front side, which is so particular and precise. But these queens are amazing. I mean, Allosaurus Rex is very much like a drag mother in Atlanta for so many queens, just absolutely legendary. And yeah, it was such a fun project to make these portraits, just because I have really great relationships with all these queens, and they're amazing people and really talented artists in their own right. So yeah.
I'm curious, how long does it take you for a piece like this? What's the average?
These were pretty intense. They probably took about a month each, to be honest, just to kind of, from design to kind of finishing the stitching and shooting. Maybe a little less, maybe 3 weeks. It kind of depended how complex the hair was. Some of I would get like lost in the hair at the end, because that was kind of the last thing I would finish. And it would just be a tangle, and like, especially with the blonde, sometimes you would just get lost in shades of yellows.
Well, they're quite beautiful, and I think if you guys get the opportunity, you should look at his website and his Instagram. He does some animations with these stitching pieces as well that are absolutely incredible. I can't even imagine. Just normal animation could require a huge amount of effort and time, but the stitched frames are absolutely incredible. So I commend you on that. I wish I had that kind of patience. Okay, we're gonna skip here. Whoa, let's go to Paul. Paul. Now this is Paul's piece. Paul, do you want to make a comment about this? I have your video Indigo, which these are stills from the video, and I'm going to play that into the background here.
Oh, cool. Video is something that is relatively new to me. I mean, it's a COVID medium. When I had to leave my studio, when I lost my job, when so many things happened with the pandemic, we all had to get creative with what we were doing. And Indigo just happened while looking through old photographs, making new photographs, observing my life in isolation and putting it all together. And it just became the beginning of something. And I'm just really happy to have the 4 images in Mexico City right now, because it's really the start of something new that I just continue to explore now. Thank you.
You just got back from Portland and selling a piece in Portland, right?
Yes, and I did a lot of video in Portland also that's going to be made into something for a small group show in Chicago for February. So
that's awesome.
It's cool. All is good right now.
I would love to show you this next piece of artwork. Unfortunately, because of the extension of the show, the pieces were sent to another show, so we don't have them now. Unfortunately, in the show, they are still a part of the history of the show and the book and everything, of course. But they've moved on to another gallery show. That's what happens when things keep getting extended, I guess. Next, we have Julio, and I know you're on here, Julio. Would you like to talk a little bit about your work and the themes here?
Sure, yeah. So mine is on the right there. And this is just part of a growing body of work that I am engaged in right now that's celebrating brown skin, brown cultures, and celebrating this idea that, you know, a lot of people from different communities don't get sort of glorified and celebrated usually in mainstream cultures. And so this is of an image of a chola putting on her makeup, and she's just getting ready for her day, and she's strong, and I'm just wanting to sort of celebrate that, her strength, and engage in that moment where she's building up her own power. So.
And Julio is also in our Soul Adapt show. And Julio, somebody had the nerve to cover your poster with some really poorly made advertisements, and I cleared 99.9% of it off. And then I crumpled it up and I delivered it to the door of the people who did it. So, because there was plenty of space around it, it seemed sort of cruel that they went to all that trouble to cover your work up. That was terrible. Anyway, sorry, that was a non sequitur there, but you know, it's the continuing battle of artwork in the streets of Mexico City. Is Veronica, are you here tonight? She's on. I can't get through everybody here. There's I'm scrolling through like 20 screens. If I call your name and you're here, great. If you're not here, that's fine too. Veronica is a local Ciudad de Mexico artist, and I found her on Instagram, and I absolutely adore the work that she's doing. This is a acrylic tinted religious image piece. So she's using a photograph and some collaging techniques and ink and pen. And I really adore the energy of the work and the spirit of the work. And she's commenting a lot on how symbols are used in Mexican culture. And I'm super thrilled to have her in the show. And I'm excited that we'll be able to continue working with her as well. We have, I want to show Zara. Zara, are you on here tonight? I don't think she is. I think she's teaching this evening. She's in Los Angeles. This is actually a print of her piece, which is a much grander scale. Unfortunately, as many people know, with the COVID and everything, we had a lot of issues with how expensive it was going to be to ship these pieces from the United States to Mexico, and then a lot of concern about whether, you know, things get here, don't get here, with all the different things that were happening with the Postal Service and everything. So we offered the ability to have things printed and framed here, and we wanted to make sure to represent her. She was the first interview that I did in the series, and a fascinating queer artist in Los Angeles. So I encourage you all to take the opportunity to check out her work. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot this. Somebody left out some mezcal. And I don't think it's polite. It's impolite. I'm going to pour you guys one too. And if you guys don't drink it, if you don't drink it, it's fine. I'll just drink it at the end of this, okay? So, salud. Okay. All right, back to work. Sorry, I got really distracted there. Well, let's go over and look at Frank's piece then. I love this piece. Oh my gosh. This is such a dramatic piece. The scale of the work is quite large. And I don't have a single wall that this would fit on comfortably. So fortunately, we had this beautiful easel. And his work is very gorgeous, just lush in detail. I wish even some of the beard detail doesn't show up on this camera, but his work is just absolutely beautiful. There is also an interview with Frank in the library, of course. Guys, you are also welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question if something comes up while we're talking. I am totally open to answering questions.
Hi, this is Gil.
Hey, Gil, how are you?
Well, I am just fine. Might you linger a little bit more on each of the art pieces that you are featuring? I personally,
Yes.
on my at my end, I'm not getting much, and I appreciate your rich descriptions, but visually, it's not coming through.
Do you see, there should be one of the screens where I'm showing the actual book. So you can actually click on that screen and there should be 3 dots and you can highlight that or spotlight that so that you're actually seeing the work that we are talking about, and you can scan it in and scan it in. You can zoom into it too, but I will linger a little bit more.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to, where are we going to next? Oh, I know Forrest is here. I saw you there. Forrest, would you like to comment on this piece, which is part of the larger series?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, these pieces are turning out to be sort of the foundation for my thesis exploration in grad school. So I'm working with ideas of queer solidarity and queer joy and parallel to queer resiliency. And these pieces were sort of my attempt at confronting hetero supremacy.
And there are several different pieces within the series. Some of them are on the screen where I'm showing the book. Can you talk a little bit about the connection between these sort of medical prescription ideal and blood and how that relates to your thesis?
Yeah, a lot of the exploration has been about sort of confronting my own anger and resentment, and they are kind of about how gay people are clinicized and pathologized, and I wanted these sort of scientific mediums to express the idea that we're treated as relegated and subjugated groups, and I think it's important with the kind of scientific medium and bacterial growth and parallel with treatment and self-cure. And blood is the most basic example of our humanity that I could find, so.
And just so everyone knows, these are photographs of the original pieces. They're three-dimensional, what is it, plastic? The word is
acrylic.
Acrylic, thank you. And the Petri dishes are set into this and lit from behind, yes?
Yeah, yep.
And I just so gorgeous. When we started this whole adventure, I was so excited for the potential to have this in person as well, but I'm also extremely thrilled by the quality of the photographs. And I think even though you lose something by not having the three-dimensional object there, it's really gorgeous on its own. So congratulations to you on this series, and I can't wait to see where it leads you to. It's quite beautiful work. So,
well, thank you for taking such good care of them in the prints and the process of the show.
Yes, I'm so thrilled. We had a really good partner, Cyan Lab, in the San Rafael area here, that I use for most of my own fine art printing. Their white glove service, they take special attention. They have great papers and inks, and I love working with them. They're affordable. And if you're coming to Mexico City and you want to get prints done, I can take you over there because it's about 20% of the cost of printing in the United States. So
I noticed that. I'll take you up on that offer when I come to Mexico.
Yes, yeah. So prepare to get some printing done while you're here. So this next piece is May. And May, are you here? I think I feel like I saw you. Where are you? This is so funny. All you guys are seeing my face, and I'm just panning through all these screens. I keep forgetting I'm not a TV personality. I love these pieces, and this particular piece here, in this instance, it's only 17 by 11, but I could imagine this piece blown up quite large, and I'm just in love with the composition. Because of the lighting, you don't see the beautiful skin tones, but the composition and the color makeup of this one are so beautiful, and may comment on gender issues. So I really enjoyed my interview with her, and I have to say that one of the great parts about this particular show is that I'm a 50-year-old gay man of an era when you said gay, it was just white men, and that was all I think I ever got exposed to for the most part. And so through the years, I have come to the idea that the community is so much more diverse and that we need to do more to learn about the story. So even during this process of interviewing all the artists, I learned so many things that I didn't already know. So it was super exciting to have this conversation with her, and she's a very positive, very sincere artist. And you really have to watch the interview with her, because her discussion about working with the models and what community means to her is very much in line with what we do here. I am going to go over to Tom Atwood next. I'm gonna see if I can find him in the book. This is like must-see TV, right? When you watch somebody just scrolling around on a screen. Tom Atwood. Tom is represented by the Dab Art Co. in Los Angeles, who is a partner of ours. And I was introduced to his work through a show in Ventura, California, when I was there. And I really enjoyed this series that he was working on, Kings and Their Castles. And one of the things that I really love, this image in particular, I mean, obviously in this other image, we know who Alan Cumming is, and it's great to see Alan Cumming in his environment like this. But one of the things I really love about this particular photograph and why I chose to work with him was because of the intimacy and the narrative that's displayed. I mean, look at that look. What is he saying to his partner? Like, it's that kind of response, but it's also the framing of it, the beautiful way the composition is put together makes it quite dramatic, and a very interesting photograph. So I am thrilled to have Tom as a part of the show also. And there's an interview with Tom. Imagine that, all these interviews. It's like there's this entire library of interviews out there and available. We're gonna go to Hannah. Hannah, are you here this evening? I don't think she's here. Why is she not in? Good thing I'm checking this now. Geez, before I would, she's not in the book. I don't know why. Oh, there she is. I'm like, that would be very strange. Okay, so Hannah is a British artist who is living in Mexico City right now. She's a trans artist, and she has been a painter for many years and has been going through her transition with hormones and basically coming out of the closet and coming to terms and living her life. And she started working in fiber arts, and these represent paintings for her. And you guys have to listen to her interview, because she has a very powerful perspective. She's not afraid to share it, and it's absolutely fantastic. If you could just, I wish you could just dive into these, because the texture and the color are just absolutely gorgeous and amazing. So we're gonna go upstairs now and we should go, since we're here, we'll go see Jules' piece. We're coming up the stairs here. It's kind of funny, because this place has always been so full of things that now with all the things removed, there's a fantastic echo. Jules, are you here with us tonight? I don't know if he's online. So Jules is an artist actually that I met here in the neighborhood, Colonial Juarez here. So I love his work and the sort of chicness of it and the color balance and the way he portrays everyday life. So I'm so excited to have him as a part of the show. Get a good view there. And I know that we're going to be working with him more because he is local and we love his work. I'm going to show you the next piece is Buckstein. Where are you, Bucks? Are you here tonight, Bucks? Where are you? Okay, there it is. Whoosh. So this is Bucks's piece. This is a print of the painting that she did, and she has an entire series challenging gender notions. What are the appropriate roles of the different sexes, and she mixes and plays with those. She's a graduate student, I believe, at University of Michigan. I'm not sure which one, but we're super excited to have her with us as well. I want to show you Stephen Baboon as the next artist. I really enjoy his work. He is a Syrian-born refugee to Haiti. His family is now in Haiti, and he is a master's grad student in New York City at, I want to say Parsons. And I just love the vibrance and the color of his images. So that compelled me to dig deeper and find out what was going on here. And he's using these different fabrics from his cultures to tell the stories of queers and people in his family and the dislocation and the refugee experience. So extremely fascinating artist. Really enjoyed his interview. You can see these photos are beautiful. And he does this a lot with a lot of different fabrics, masking, transparency, and various different things. He is also part of our Soledad exhibition. He is right next to you, Julio. And unfortunately, his poster was covered up completely and I couldn't do anything about it. Very sad. Next, I want to show Eric. And I think I saw you were here, Eric. Hola, Eric. So these are 2 out of the 4 in the series. Eric, can you just make a brief comment about what it is that you're doing with the human form and the illustrative aspects of this too?
Lo que hago es invitar a muchas a personas normales, con rostros normales, y básicamente es como retratarlas en un fondo blanco o en un fondo negro y cambiar la percepción que tienen ellos de su cuerpo. Entonces es muy interesante la reacción que tienen antes de desnudarse, después, cuando ven la fotografía final. Entonces eso es algo que me llena de satisfacción.
A little bit of distortion there, so I hope you were able to hear him. I did not hear everything that you said. I apologize. Eric is also a local artist here in Mexico City who had come to some of the residency events prior to lockdown when we were still having events in place here. So Diane, I am going to go show yours next. Are you on here, Diane? I feel like I saw you somewhere. Where? Oh, here you are. Diane, are you on the call? I thought I saw Diane Durant here. Well, I love this series that she did, and she's using her daughter as a model and recreating memories from her childhood when she was a tomboy and didn't really fit in. And so I love how she costumes her daughter and puts her into these scenes. First of all, just the willingness of her daughter, but also there's a lot of expressions like this throughout the series of the images. This is her model face. And these are fantastic photos in a series, and I would love to be able to show the entire series of photos because they're quite gorgeous. This one reads on the bottom, if I could rewrite the little ditty about Jack and Diane, I'd be the football star. Since this is up on the screen, I'll go over here next to Justin O'Keefe. Justin, are you on here? Justin is in Houston, Texas, and he works by painting his models first and then photographing them. And he has a really, really interesting and diverse catalog. The particular story about this piece had to do with, I believe this model is Filipino, and he had come out to his family, and his family had rejected him. And this was an opportunity for him to express the pain of that, but also to make himself feel beautiful too. So I really appreciate the sentiment of this particular artist and the way he works with different people in the community as well. This is Keith Buswell. I wish we could have this original piece here because it's so beautiful. And this is actually quite layered. You can't tell from the photograph, of course, but he prints, and then he's using a wallpaper print behind, and then he has a transparency, and the print is on top of that transparency. And it's quite three-dimensional. It just doesn't translate very well through a video camera, but it is a beautiful and gorgeous piece and series. And the artist has a lot of beautiful work on his website as well. Robert, are you on? Did I see you on?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's so nice to see you, and it's so nice to see everyone.
Robert, can you tell us, this is a documentation of an installation, so obviously that's not going to do any justice, but can you tell us about the materials and what you're looking to accomplish with them here?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really so honored to kind of to show with all of you. I love all of your work. But in my work, I'm mainly working with paper, and it's my goal and kind of what I want to achieve with my work is to show the liminal space, I guess the in-between space that a shaman or a curandero goes to when the body is in transition and when it's healing. And when I dug further into my research with that, and the more I dug into my own religion and practice, I became obsessed with that idea of the body and just evolving. And in my work, I wanted to show that space. I wanted to show that space through through my own lens and what the environment would look like it's basically me just trying to create that space where we heal. And it's all paper, crumbled up paper, twisted, and yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous work. I cannot wait for you to come to Mexico City and create an installation in person here.
Yes.
That would be absolutely fabulous.
I would love to.
Go over here to, this is AJ. Is AJ here tonight? So AJ is exploring gender expressions and telling the stories of people within her community. So these are three pieces from a series, which I believe, I think there were around 20 or so within the actual series itself. She's an Oakland-based artist, just absolutely fantastic to speak to, really energetic and full of ideas. So I know we're going to be hearing from her more in the future as well. And I want to go over here to Mei Feng. And this particular piece is a print as well, but we printed it onto a textile. and it has a really beautiful texture to it, which I don't think the camera is going to translate. It's quite gorgeous. This is intaglio and watercolor on paper. Really beautiful. And this is, I believe this is about dreams, if I remember correctly. This next piece I want to show you is Minister Atkins. And actually, I want to show you guys the video. He does some amazing work with dance and music that he creates.
Well, I actually created the sound for this in 2014 or 15. And then I created the visual aspect of the piece in 2019. So I held on to it for a while. A lot of it was just like financial reasons, and then trying to get funding to do it. And then, but yeah, I started out with the sound, and it was, at the time, it was just like more so I wanted to create just like a meditative type feel to the piece. As far as the sound goes, just like experimenting with that. But once as the years went on and I created the visual for it, I really wanted to tap into having a subject, particularly a male subject, naked, bare in the center, really trying to meditate and center himself, and almost like tap into himself to be able to like express himself freely. Sure. Which also goes in hand with my whole thing about how I have to personally meditate and just like do whatever I can to like center myself and like become more and more comfortable with being a homosexual, because of my environment, my upbringing, and my environment was totally against that. So it's a lot of shedding of a lot of those things.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in North Carolina.
And what religion is your family religion?
They are like Pentecostal Christian, black, and I mean heavy. I mean like I grew up on my mom's side of the family. The majority of my mom's side of the family are involved in the church in some way, whether it's preaching, anything like that. I think my mom's uncle, my grandmother's brother, is like the president of like Black Churches of America, the South. So it's like No, I know it sounds funny, but like had really, really deep involved in the church. So it's like growing up with, like I said, I didn't know I was gay, but like actually moving to New York and, you know, learning about myself. And then I came out to my family when I was 26. So I'm still in that process of like my family members adjusting to it, and that whole fight, which can play with your psyche a little bit. So I think a lot with this particular Holy Communion project, I really take it as a piece that's like telling myself to like, I have to meditate and I have to center myself with my beliefs and having my own communion with myself to be able to like, you know,
to push outwards.
Can you tell us the story behind this particular piece?
Yeah, that was done last year, and it was a self-portrait, and I was looking at Diane Durant, a South African artist's work, and her drawing is amazing. So I take reference to her drawing, and then I do my own style. So I was dreaming about holding a crocodile, because crocodile is so dangerous, and my position is like quite relaxing, but because I work as a dental hygienist for a few years before I do any drawing, so I think of myself wearing the gloves and holding the needle and tuck it to the crocodile.
It's a beautiful piece, and I'm quite thrilled with the quality of the print as well. This last artist to show as part of, well, I have to do voice love as well, one more artist after this. This is actually a sculptural piece, and he took these supermarket sunglasses and printed these hot dogs and placed them in the middle of the, so this is a documentation of the sculptural piece. So we're selling a limited edition of the documentation as well as the sculpture itself. I don't think Nathan is here this evening. Are you here tonight, Nathan? I don't think so. So the last piece I want to show you is from Voicelove. Voicelove, are you here this evening? Oops. No, he's not here. Okay, well, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to walk downstairs and show you from downstairs as well, but these are hand-painted flags. And they are actually part of a series, a show that he did in Eastern Europe. And we talk about the exhibition in our interview, and it's fascinating to hear the stories behind his work, but he is super, super, super prolific, always working, loves his work. So if you guys, anybody have any questions or anything?